What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another CZN video. And today we're going to talk about something related to this awesome background of Renoa that you see here, which is unlocked by hitting Affinity 10. So if you guys didn't know, by hitting Affinity 10 on certain characters, you will be able to unlock their special background. Some of them look absolutely amazing. I think all of them look pretty good, honestly, but some might appeal to you more than others. But anyways, I just wanted to touch upon the Affinity system because, as you guys probably know at this point, through the growth guide, which is the beginner guide basically, which every single game has, you do actually have these quests to get to certain affinity levels for one random combatant, which is basically the one that you want to choose. Now, I won't say that this system is good. Honestly, it's really terrible in my opinion, because I would rather it be like level 10 on like 2 or level 10 on 3. Because right now, the way that it works is you are locked into one character to just get up to as high of a level as you can. And it feels bad because, you know, you do get one background for the character that you like the most, which is what I recommend doing it for. But there's so many good backgrounds, and I wish I could kind of like switch through it. But by unlocking the other ones, you are technically not breaking your account, but you're slowing your progression down, because not only are you missing out on the rewards from the quest, right, that you get, which are like, you know, summons and crystals, which is a big deal, and even EXP and like energy, right? But you also miss out on the next chapter rewards by waiting. And the reason why is because a lot of the quests in the following chapter after you unlock it are already done, and the one you're waiting for always is the Affinity one. And the level 15 one, when I first unlocked it, and when people first unlocked it, people were very, very surprised that it kept going. They thought it would end at level 10, which makes a lot of sense because this is when you'll unlock the background. But you can see at chapter 8 of the growth guide, you actually have one to get to level 15. And it gets even worse. So this is not my picture. I found this in the official CZN Discord from a random user. I forgot who it was, but thanks again, I guess. But you're going to see here that you have another quest which rewards you with some Nikes to get a character to level 3 affinity. And it's pretty obvious this is a typo, right? Because it doesn't make sense. You go from 15 to 3. So I assume this is a typo to level 30, right? So you do have to get a character to affinity level 30. And if you actually look at the affinity levels and how they work, you can actually get them to a maximum of level 40 here. So is there going to be one for 40 after? I don't know. I really hope not, because it is such a grueling process and you're mostly only doing it for the quest, right? And the thing is, you don't really get any real rewards. You do get a sticker, which is, I think it's used on the save data, where you can actually like customize the logo for it, I guess, but that's not really a big deal, right? You're not really staring at the save data. The biggest one is going to be the background. So I really wish that they, you know, rework it. I do have some solutions, which I'll talk about later on in this video, but I also want to say, like, in light of all the translation text issues, someone stumbled upon this image. This is from the Japanese version of the game, and you can see it's the same quest, but you see the number 20. So I guess you only have to get them to 20 instead of 30, or it might be for the Japanese client, you get them to 20 and it's done, or, you know, maybe you know, the English version, the global version got shafted and we have to get them to an extra 10 levels. So I don't really know how this works, but it is a typo. But what I think personally is, I'm pretty sure that the 3 means 20, even if that makes no sense, because at 20 you do unlock the sticker, right? So that's kind of why I brought up the sticker. At 30 you don't get anything, so it doesn't really make sense for them to lock a reward behind 20, or not 20, behind 30. But then again, they locked one behind 15, which also doesn't give you anything. So who really knows? We have to complete the quest to find out. A lot of inconsistencies, pretty annoying, I know. But the more annoying thing is that the fact that we're just doing way more affinity, right, than we actually really want to. And the worst part about the affinity system, which is why I think it really needs a rework, is yes, you can get gifts, but you can only get a certain amount every single week. And spending your policy points on gifts is kind of mandatory to get your affinity up to actually do the quests. But also because of the fact that if you do that, you're missing out on research notes, which is going to also just feel bad, because the nodes in the research facility, they actually are very good later on. So it feels like you're kind of stunting your progression. You can see it goes up to like level 100. So yeah, the affinity system just feels very flawed. On top of that, outside of gifts, you can also get affinity in 2 other ways. The first one being in the trauma center. So when your characters actually go crazy, you can do some dialogue with them. I think it's twice you have to do it between 2 choices. And if you succeed and you get it above, I think it's 80%, it might be 75 or something, you get a bit of affinity. The thing is though, it's kind of RNG. You kind of also rely on your runs failing in chaos, which is pretty annoying. And if you do succeed, sometimes your characters also go crazy, but that has some RNG built into it as well. So not really a consistent or a good source of your affinity that you can get there. But the other one is going to be in the regular town. So through the research facility, you unlock, certain areas. As you can see, some are locked. And then what you can do is talk to the players, or the characters rather, and then spend time together. And this will boost your affinity as well. Now the thing with this is you can only do it once a day. And as you guys know, it's RNG. Some of your characters won't show up. So it's very annoying, As you unlock more areas, of course, the RNG goes away and you'll be able to, probably see all of your characters. But right now there's like RNG, not enough gifts, and, it kind of snowballs because in your policies, you kind of want to unlock as much as you can, but you're using those policy points that you farm to unlock stuff in the research facility versus getting more gifts. So you have to choose, and it's just counterintuitive, honestly. So, I think some fixes they can do is, one, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, they should just rework this part of the quest. I think everything else is okay, but they should definitely make it so that you don't have to do this much affinity for characters, right? Especially for one character. I think, spreading it for level 10 for 2 would be fine, because then it feels like you're actually unlocking something outside of the first background. You're unlocking 2. But after you unlock that first background, it really feels like a hassle and kind of like a waste of time. But you have to do it for the growth guide. So what I think they should do, and this is just one suggestion that I have because there's many different ways they can tackle it, right? They could lower the affinity requirements of characters to level them up. You can also just give affinity for different things, right? Like maybe like a dialogue option here where you can talk to them. You get affinity every single day to boost it. You can boost multiple characters as once, even though that's pretty similar to the excursion thing. But I think like the best way to solve it, and this is just my opinion, and I was kind of thinking about it for a while because I'm staring at this quest every day for every minute that I play, is in chaos system. So it does make sense thematically because when you're going through chaos system, your characters go through a lot of stress. But what I think they should do is whenever you complete a floor, or even like the entire, map or world, whatever you want to call it, with the 2 floors and 2 bosses, I think they should just give you some affinity, like for that team that you use. And it really does make sense because you're kind of helping them through like this traumatic area of the game, and just giving like a small affinity boost for completing a chaos world would just make it a lot better because you'll be able to farm it on your own time. And it makes it so that the chaos system doesn't feel as much of like a waste of time, because a lot of people, right, they realize now at this point that farming like the lower stages doesn't really matter because like you will replace these decks no matter what, because the save data value, even on nightmare mode, caps at normal. But when you get to the late game and do zero system, you'll see that the highest difficulty at level 10, which I just showed you, gives you very high save data and extra rare fate occurrences. You also, if you go to the reward info, not the reward info, what am I talking about? If you go to the upgrading button, you'll see if you go to the last node, you actually get extra divine epiphanies and stuff like that. So like technically your decks that you're farming until you unlock this are going to be kind of just wasted, because these divine epiphanies can make some cards extremely OP, and just getting more of them in your deck will just most likely, most of the time, make you replace those decks. So, I think adding an affinity boost to characters that you run in zero system makes it so that, you're not just farming those mid-game, early, late-game decks, but you're also farming some affinity for your characters as well. So it doesn't feel like a complete waste of time that you are going to just, get rid of with those decks. So I think this is a good change to make. I really hope they implement it. I think it should have been in the game since launch, because to me, like after thinking about it, it just made a lot of sense. And I was kind of like thinking, why was this not here on launch? But I just wanted to hear your thoughts about it. The Affinity system is very flawed. I want to hear what you guys have to say about how you guys think we should fix it. But I think the Chaos mode giving Affinity would be a great thing, and honestly, outside of that, there's not really a lot of area of content that you can get Affinity from anyways. So I think, you know, having something you can grind for Affinity just makes sense for this type of game where you're already like grinding a lot. And right now, I think a lot of people in the 40 to 50 range are just like hard pushing zero system and not farming decks anyways. So by doing this, you will give some incentive to farm those mid-game decks, because right now it just doesn't feel that worthwhile. And that's kind of the biggest reason why I just kind of rushed into level 10 difficulty and didn't do nightmare mode at all. And you guys were all wondering why I'm not doing nightmare mode. Well, it was just to rush to level 10, and now I'm doing it, right? So yeah, just want to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.